In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. Woohoo! All right, so we've got a great topic tonight, and I hope everybody's doing great, because those are my papers in the background I'm banging with my notes on it. And our topic for tonight is, get ready, the dark room. That's right, the dark room. Gee, Bryce, what's a dark room? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to explain that to you. So listen. I want to have you consider something. That the darkness is not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily evil. Okay, and I want to kind of discuss this with you about this thing we call the dark room. Because I want to take you back to the very beginning. So if you go back to Genesis, when God created everything, first there was like darkness. There wasn't even light. It was just darkness. And out of the darkness, he created light. And then he began to create everything else. The earth, the stars, the planets, the animals, everything. And eventually, when he got lonely and bored, I'm not really sure how you can get bored when you're God, because you can create anything. He created human beings. But out of this darkness came the light. This creation. And for you law students and you lawyers and everybody else out there, I want you to consider that in your life, there you may feel that like, my life is dark. It's just dark. And I hear that statement quite a bit, where people compare like, my mood is dark. My attitude is dark. I'm just in a dark, dark place. And for those that say that, they're correlating that with some major pit, some major sedation in one of their domains. Remember what the domains are. Okay, let's cover them again. Body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment. And then you have the domain of detox, where you're getting rid of everything toxic in your life in each one of those domains. And again, what fuels the domains is your passion. And there is a process that you go through in each one of the domains to rise as a man or woman. And you have to embrace the pain that's going to come with it in order for you to move forward, to cross that bridge, that impossible gap. That's what we call it, from where you are today to your future, that future you. And in that, there is this darkness, because there's you creating this new version of you. For example, in body, you look at it and say, what are the facts of my fitness and nutrition today? Okay, maybe you're overweight for your height and your age, and you're way overweight. And so you feel you're in the dark, but what happens is, when you take action to not be obese, to eating the way you're supposed to for nutrition, you become eventually this new person, this new physique, this new feeling of energy and cleansing the body. And out of the dark comes this new person physically, and then mentally, and then emotionally, and then spiritually. So each one of these domains of body, being, balance, business, fulfillment, and the detox domain, as you go through the process of, it's almost like a chemical reaction inside each one of these domains, that you are transforming into the light, something good. People are coming to you. They're drawn to you. And I want you I want you to consider that. I want you to take that in, that where you may be today as a law student or a lawyer or whatever profession you're in, that maybe what you consider darkness is something that is formulating you and transforming you to be this new version of you, the best version of you, and that the old you has to die in order for the new version of you to move forward and to live. It's just like, think about this. We all now have our smartphones, iPhones, tablets, and digital cameras came out years ago. And you take them, and it really wasn't a process. Okay, people would take photos and everything, but it's not like the old days when you really had to have more of a skill of taking photos and photography, because you'd have to take the film, whether it was black and white or color. You'd have to pull the roll out, you take it to the developer, and they would go through what? A process. And they would take the negatives that were dark, and you'd go in a dark room, so you didn't expose the film and ruin it. And they would take these pans of chemicals in order to what? In order to develop the picture. So something would come out of the light, out of the dark, and these negatives would lighten, and you would see the result of the process that they went through in order to develop the photos, the pictures. And that was a true art. It was a process. And the pain associated with it it's time consuming, it's tedious, and it's meticulous. But the end result of that process and embracing that pain brought forth what? The photos and the pictures. And in turn, what did it do? When you got them back, it brought you happiness, because it captured a point in time that you wanted to capture and that you would have forever as long as the photographs would last. Now, today, with all this technology, I don't know. The process, you snap it, you do the filters and all that stuff. I guess there's some creativity to it, but there's just something that gets lost in translation, lost in the process, to where it's not, the same as the old way of developing photos and pictures. There's something missing. We have substituted artificial intelligence. We have substituted technology for true art, for the human involvement. See, that's the thing about this. This is the thing about legal warrior. This is about escaping the legal matrix. Because inside the legal matrix wants you in a total state of being disconnected from everything that is good and just. And the legal matrix, their version of the dark room, is to never let you go through the process to embrace the pain, to then do what? To become the light of the earth for others to follow when you lead. And the legal matrix keeps you in this dark room where you never develop to be the best version of who you can be in the domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment, and the domain of detoxing, of getting rid of all the things in those domains that would stop you from rising as a king or queen in the kingdoms that you want to create. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about where you are right now today. Maybe you're on the beach. Maybe you're in your room alone. Maybe you're studying. Maybe you're in the courtroom. Maybe you're in your car. And to you may feel you're in a dark place. Maybe you've got the lights out. Maybe even though the light's coming through, you still feel you're in the dark. And until you go through the process to transform you, just like in old style photography and development of the photos and the pictures, you will never, ever appreciate the embracing of the pain and the results you will get when you transform your body into this great physique and you feel good, when you have this connection with God, when in balance you have these great connections with those whom you love or associate, or your business is on fire and you're not in scarcity anymore and you're in abundance, and then you feel fulfilled because those other 4 domains are just on fire with your passion. And you've gone through and you detoxed off people and detoxed off events and detoxed off the past of those things, those people, and those events that kept you in the dark, that didn't let you develop to come into the light. Now, that may sound very far-fetched, but in reality, that's what happens. People that succeed, people that do well, however you want to define doing well, they start in the darkness. And they go through this process. And as they go through this process, they slowly transform into somebody totally different. This is what happened to me 6 years ago. 6 years ago, as I sat there in the chair, and I knew that something was wrong in all of my domains. I didn't even know what those domains were until I joined Wake Up Warrior. I did not know that I could have a path to possibilities of this impossible game, of this new version of me. And for 6 years now, I have felt that as I was in this dark room, there was this process that I was going through. And it was the hands of God on either side taking me from one of those pans to the next, to something in them, some chemical, some DNA, something unique in the spirit, in the soul, all of it, that was transforming me into this totally different version of me that I am today. Because being in a truly dark place to where you never create anything leaves you in the dark. Imagine if God had never created light and it was just all dark and there was no sun. And the sun, the plants would not grow. There would be so many things that we would not have on this planet. So out of this darkness came creation. And out of your darkness will come creation. To be this new version of you. I want you to sit with that for a few minutes. I want you to think about that. I want you to consider that. See, law schools, the state bars, the bar associations, they will not have this type of conversation with you. Those conversations are superficial. They're canned. They're in a box. And they're part of the legal matrix. And remember, the legal matrix doesn't care about you. It's all consuming. It's all consuming. It's a jealous mistress. That's exactly what the legal matrix is. And if you just stop, and if you just submit, and if you just listen, and you seek, and you see, and you knock on the door, and you take the keys, and you open the cell door, and you go for your freedom, you will discover this process of where the darkness is the creation of this new version of you, of this impossible game that you are playing in life. Creation. It's creation. You have to think about this. Legal Warrior, we're calling for all of the game changers. What you do today is the future of you. This impossible game we talk about, this you. And what you do today, this investment in yourself, of taking this darkness and creating the light, creating you, it's what you're going to inherit in the future. You're rewriting You're like rewriting this code in your soul. And you've got this absolute will to win. And you can see yourself now in the future. And what do you have to do in this darkness to create the light, to be this new version of you? You have to have the phraseology, the perspective, and the capacity. That's what you have to have. See, the future is very expensive. And what you do now, what you carry now in burdens, and what you carry out of the darkness into this light is going to determine how expensive your future is going to be. There is a cost of doing nothing. There is an expense of staying in the status quo. And that cost is too much to bear than the cost of moving forward in who? In you. You've got to see yourself now in this future version of you. Because the future you, when you see yourself, is looking back and it's saying, thank you. Thank you for what you did. Thank you for what you're doing now in this darkness, in this creation of creating the light, of creating the new version. The future you is sitting at the other end of this table looking at you, saying thank you. Thank you. Because you've got to be resilient and you've got to be consistent and you've got to take action even when you don't want to. You've got to continue to dig deep. It is a battlefield. It is a dogfight. It is a jungle out there. And you've got to continue to dig deep within yourself in this darkness. And you have to continue to ask the better question of, why am I here? Why am I here? See, that's the science behind it. You can remain in a nation of easy, a scripture of easy, a diet of easy, and easy will never take you anywhere. When God created the world and everything in it, even with all the power that he had, and he does have, he still took a day off. He still took a day off for rest. God did. And he has no limit. He's not bound by time or space or anything, but he still took a day off. The fruit of his labor is who? It's you and me and those whom you love and the world in which you live. And again, it was created out of darkness, and darkness was not evil. God existed in darkness. And he created light. And so with you, look at you right now. Are you really in a dark place that is ruining your life that you can't climb out of? I would submit to you that the darkness that you feel you're experiencing is the calling of your soul purpose from God himself. And that calling of that darkness is the beginning of your transformation. And this process that you must go through and that you must embrace the pain that goes through it are going to be and will be the defining moments of where you have come out of this darkness into this light that you have created to be the best version of you. So I want you to ask those better questions. Where am I in the darkness? Am I creating something in me? Am I creating something where I'm moving forward in the light? And once I get there, am I a light and a beacon that others will follow? See, this is what Legal Warrior is about. It's about living and operating in truth, leading in truth to fight the legal matrix. The legal matrix truly is an evil empire. And if you don't have the skill sets, if you don't have the ruthless commitment to yourself, if you don't understand the rules of the jungle and the game, if you don't understand that in this darkness is where you will create you to become the light of the world, to lead others in truth, and to fight injustice and tyranny and Orwellian policies, if you don't realize that, then you are passing up the biggest path to the ultimate possibilities of being the best version of you. I want you to think about that. I want you to ask that better question. I want you to write down the answer, and I want you to pursue your impossible game. Okay, that's a lot to think about. It's a very heavy topic, but it's a great topic. So this is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Remember this, it's love and light, and thinking about you all the time. You know what to do. If you have questions, if you wish to consult with me, if you wish to hire me to assist you, to lead you across this bridge from bondage to freedom from the legal matrix, then send me a direct message. My email, my first name, Bryce, B-R-Y-C-E, middle initial D is in Delta, last name Nyer, N is November, E-I-E-R, Bryce D. Nyer at gmail.com. Comes directly to me, nothing fancy, you don't need it. Comes right to my phone, right to my computer. Don't be shy, be bold, be courageous. And most of all, be the best version of you that you can be. This is Bryce out.